So we have some new NHL trade rumors from David Pagnotta from the fourth period. Now, that does center around the Islanders, and they do have a couple of interesting players, and we're going to get into that in this video. Just before we do, guys, if you could make sure to hit the subscribe button, it really does help out the channel. Thank you so much for that. So, obviously, the Islanders have a couple of pending UFAs and centers at that, and we do know that centers are a premier asset. This is something that on my channel I have been harping on for a long time. Every team is desperate for a center. Last year it was right-hand shot D, now it is centers, and they have a really interesting one in Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri as well. Now, David Pagnotta in this trade rumor was talking about the fact that he does believe that they can get a first-round selection for both these players. Now, I know a lot of people are going to push back on this. They're going to say they're pending UFAs, blah, 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 which is objectively true, but that doesn't matter this year. It's all about what the market is willing to pay. You know, it is interesting, though, just before I mention this, Kyle Palmieri is a right winger for the Islanders. Brock Nelson is the center. The center is the one that I think is going to be able to gain the most assets from other teams, because those are the ones that have the highest values. I'm a little bit skeptical on Palmieri because he is a winger and he is a UFA. I still do hold true to the fact when a player is going to unrestricted free agency, they are going to have lesser value because, you know, they're not going to re-sign with the team. We all know when a team gets a UFA, they are not going to re-sign with them. Generally speaking, that is true. But Brock Nelson, I'm telling you, even though he's a UFA, this guy is going to get a first-round pick. You know, I was listening to the Leaf Report recently, and I mentioned this in another video, that they were talking about the fact that, hey, listen, these guys, Yanni Gourde and all these guys, they are getting first-round picks, and I'm telling you right now, these guys are bang on about it. They're going to get first-round picks. So if David Pagnotta, I think he's wrong about Palmieri, but I think that he is absolutely correct about Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson does play center, in fact. Now, I actually do think that the New York Islanders are going to be a team that is probably going to be aggressive in free agency. I think that it probably is, and it makes a lot of sense for them to go ahead and move their pending free agents, obviously. Now, I'm telling you, I said this in my last video, that again, it is going to shock you how much these guys are going to get paid. You know, the Islanders have struggled a little. I mean, they lost to the Maple Leafs tonight, actually. I just finished watching the game. You know, a team that's last place in the Metropolitan Division isn't really going to do much. You know, but again, Brock Nelson is a solid player. I've said this for a while. Like, he is a really underrated player. You know, the past 3 seasons, he scored 30-plus goals. Now, he hasn't, obviously, typically when a team, you know, your team is not doing well, the stars aren't doing well on your team either. So yeah, Brock Nelson has absolutely taken a little bit of a step back this year. He's got about 10 goals. I'm not convinced that he couldn't score 30 at one point. This is why I do think that Brock Nelson is going to get paid this summer after the Islanders, I would assume, trade him. But yeah, no, he is one of the quietest 30, 35, 36, 37 goal scorers in the NHL. He just does his business and he scores goals, and he plays center. This is a player that I'm telling you is going to fetch a lot. I've pointed at teams that desperately need a center, like the Maple Leafs, for example, although we did hear that the Maple Leafs do want a trade asset that will stay around. I still think that's going to be very difficult, just talking about the Leafs for a second, but yeah. I mean, you could make an argument also that a team like maybe like the Dallas Stars might be looking at that. They had Tyler Seguin, who did get injured. I wonder if they would be looking at a Brock Nelson. I know that they are a team that wants to compete. I think that they're a good quality team. I'm not sure if they are an elite team. I do think that they're going to make some damage in the playoffs, but I wonder if that is a team that that could possibly look at a Brock Nelson. or perhaps a Kyle Palmieri. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm just trying to look at teams that are very, just clearly, very much need a centerman in their organization, although it does seem that almost every team actually wants that. You could also consider perhaps a team like the Minnesota Wild, who could probably benefit from having another good center. I understand that they have Eriksson Ek, they have some good players there, but I do wonder if they would be a team that would be interested in him as well. Now, it is interesting, though, because there are also non-playoff teams or teams that are worse. Like, we've heard rumors that the Nashville Predators also want a center as well, and the Calgary Flames. Now, I'm not going to put too much disrespect on Calgary's name, because they've actually been pretty good this season. I think that they're above Vancouver in the playoffs right now, and they have wanted a center. So, again, I know what you're going to say. Oh, it's Calgary. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. Like, I still do think that Vancouver is going to take that final spot in their division, but they have been looking for a center for quite a while as well. I don't really know what assets they would be willing to give up, though. And, just to touch on the New York Islanders as a hockey team, they've struggled a little bit more than I thought they would this year. I didn't think they were going to be a great team this year, but, they have let in about 3.17 goals against on average as a team. I thought they were going to be a little bit better defensively than that. So they have struggled with keeping the puck in their net, at least in my opinion. 3.17 goals is a little bit much, so it's probably part of the issue there. Yeah, part of the issue is Ilya Sorokin is also, he's got a 900 save percent average. So, there's a bunch of issues there. I do still think that the Islanders are going to be really, really aggressive in the summer, though. Like, that's one thing that I'm predicting 100%. I think this team still has, some ways to improve. I think that Lou Lamoriello, is still a good quality general manager in the National Hockey League. I know he's a bit of an old school guy. Some guys don't like that, but I still think he's a good general manager. So anyways, I just wanted to touch on this trade rumor from David Pagnotta surrounding Brock Nelson and Palmieri. If you guys can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Bye, guys.